Hi everyone, welcome to Hilltop View Journals. If you're joining me today, then you are going to have some abstract fun. We are going to be making our own abstract embellishments to decorate our tags. I've got tags here that are made from jelly prints, but I've also got tags made from masterboards that have been created from digital kits. You could use your 12 by 12 cardstock, any type of patterned paper that you've got to make these. So please do join me and let's get on with some abstract fun. So these are what I've been playing with today, and let's start by having a go at making these, and then we'll have a look at some alternatives if you don't fancy doing any doodling, or if you haven't got any gel prints or don't want to do any gel prints. So we'll have a look at a couple of options as well, but these are all done using jelly prints, and this is slightly different, and I've also added a couple of layers of packaging paper and also vellum printed over with a digital kit from Rach and Bella Crafts. So there's a couple of options there, and this one, this light blue here, that is a gel print, and I've just done some scribble writing that isn't supposed to be understood. So that's what I've done there. So let's start by making some of these. I've got some packaging paper, just basic cardstock. You could use 12 by 12 paper if you wanted to. You could use any type of packaging that you've got. I've pre-cut these and I've used one of my templates, and they measure 9 centimeters across, which is 3.5 inches, by 22 centimeters long, which is 8 11/16. How I work that out, I don't know. You can make these any size. I'm just doing these 4 because that's what I've got cut, and I don't feel like cutting any more tags today, so that's what I am going to do. And I think what I would start off by doing is actually preparing the base, and that isn't how I did these 4. I did the doodles first, then I did let me just think now. Well, how did I do this? Yes, I did the doodles, then I did the watercolour backgrounds, and then I put them all together. And I would do them completely the other way, because when you practice, you do it the way you think you're going to need to do it, and then you realise as you're going along, no, that's really silly, Steph, and you do it a different way. So that's the way I'm going to show you. So these are the 4 tags I'm going to work on, and the first thing I need to do is grab some gel printing and show you then how to layer up the tag. So I've got a couple of gel prints, and they're printed on different paper. And apologies if the sound wasn't so great then, I forgot to put my microphone on. Yes, so I've printed on different paper, and I've just got some really cheap drawing paper, kids drawing paper. I've got some under paper that you'd put when you're wallpapering there. I've got some packaging paper. I've got wet strength tissue paper, or sometimes it's called artist tissue paper. And this is music paper. Music paper as in the rolls of paper. Let me just show you an example. So it's this type of thing. You can pick these up fairly cheaply quite often on eBay. So it's always worth having a look at those. Okay, so these are the gel prints. I may grab some more gel prints as I go along. So this card has got quite a plain background, so I can use them without actually adding another piece of paper on top to cover whatever it was. But I may find that with the tissue paper, for instance, you may be able to see, yeah, you can see it. So I'll have to keep that in mind. This one, well, that's not so bad actually, and I'm going to start off with this one. So with this one, I was using scrap bits of tissue paper, and where I had little bits of paint left on the jelly print, I then added the scrappy bits. So I quite like that. So I'm going to do that straight away actually, and I'm going to stick that down. So this is really all about just sticking things down at this stage. So let's put this glue stick down. So I'm not gluing around the edge because I'm going to stitch, but if you're not going to stitch, then you'll need to glue down. And I think what I'll do is I'll put that to the edge there. I don't want to waste any of this when I cut it. So this is a very simple one because I literally, all I've got to do is just stick it down and trim off the excess. Okay, so that, I think that looks really nice. Okay, so I'm going to keep some of these because I can reuse them. Pop them to the side there. I think these can go in the bin safely. And these strips are great because what we can do then is we can lay them on top of other pieces of jelly prints. So let's do this one now. So with this one, let us use this, and then what I can do is use that somehow, I think. So I'm just going to, maybe what I could do is layer it like that, then that, and that on the bottom. That's what I'm going to do. So let's, again, just glue this first. So this is a lot of fun to play with what you've got. And let me glue this in place. So I'm just going to pop it under there. So I don't mind the wrinkles, and I just need to, now, oh, I've got, I can see a hair there. Just going to glue that edge there, so that goes down nicely. And then I'm going to trim these off. And then what I can do is I could either go back there like that. And I know I can see pattern there. I'm probably going to go, well, I was going to go over that, but actually I quite like the pattern there. I think I could probably leave that and it'll add more interest. So I don't think that goes. So I think it'd be better if I then come back with that. So let's do that. I need to glue this edge. So got a little bit of pattern there from the packaging. Okay, so that's the second one. So they're very different, but using same bits of paper. That's what I really like about the gel prints. So I keep the little strips. I don't need that. I don't need that. Okay, let's see what I can do with the third one. So I've got some brown paper here, which I really like. That gives a lovely tone. And I've also got some of this. So I think that would look really nice actually. So I'm going to, I think actually that I will incorporate this little piece of brown paper there. And I I don't need too much, so let's do a little bit of a rip. And then on the bottom, I think I will add that. Now again, you can see little bits of the packaging, but I like that, so I'm going to leave it. But what I am going to do is use my fine glue tip, and I will have to glue on the edge because otherwise you'll see the glue in between the holes, and we don't really want that. So let's pop that on. That is that one. Really pleased with that as well. And with the last one, I'm going to create a bit of like a masterboard, where I'm going to cut pieces and do them kind of patchworky. That's a really artistic saying, isn't it? Patchworky. You may use that if you wish. So let's start gluing these down. And in no particular order. Probably just go over the edge slightly and then trim it, I think. So I need something contrasting there and something contrasting there, and I don't seem to have any scraps to hand, so I'm going to maybe cut into one of these pieces. And I think if you've got a sewing machine and you're happy using your sewing machine, I think it would be nice to maybe just stitch around a couple of these just to highlight them, even just like that little one there. And I may do that actually. I know it'll leave a mark there, but I could always cover it if I wanted to. And I'm going to quickly trim around here. And while I'm trimming around here, what I wanted to say was, I mean, it's not always possible, but the cardstock, the packaging paper that I've used for this little project goes with what I'm gluing down, because I've sort of got tones of browns and greys, and golds goes with it, and the blues go with the packaging as well. So sometimes it works to your advantage if you can use packaging that's got just the hints of the colour, you know, of the colour scheme that you're actually using in your project. Okay, so then that's a patchwork. So I've only used a couple of pieces of my gel prints, but as you can see, they're all really quite different. And I don't know if you'd actually be able to determine that these are the same gel prints by the way that you just put them on the cardstock. So I'm going to let those dry. I'm going to ink around the edges, and I am also going to stitch around the edges as well once they are dry. So this is what we're making in the second and third stage, and we're going to do the doodles first. So what I thought I'd show you is some of the ways that I doodle these, and they're kind of botanical, if you can call them that. If you want some ideas, then go on to Pinterest and type in collage fodder, and you will see loads of these examples come up that you can copy. So what I've used is watered down acrylic ink in a squeegee bottle, which I'll show you now. You could just use a pen if that's what you prefer, but I'll show you how I do it. So you want a squeegee bottle, something like this. I wouldn't suggest that you use a really tall needle, you know, sort of nib on top, because it gets a bit difficult to actually control when you're drawing. You can buy something like this. I'm not keen on this one. I might have to use this one actually. I find it difficult to squeeze and draw at the same time, but you can get bottles, which I haven't got in front of me right now, but I will link them in the description box. There's like a short version of this, so that's what I will link for you in the video. And what you do is you pop your black acrylic paint in there with a few droplets of water, and I tend to use a little bottle like this just to drop the water in there. Be sparing with it, give it a shake, try out your paint mixture. This is quite difficult to get off. And you may find it's too runny, or you may find that it's too thick. Add a couple more drops of water and keep on trying it. I can't give you the exact ratio of paint to water because it's just too difficult to measure out really. These are really good bottles. You know, use them for the glue. Are they called quilting bottles maybe? They're really good to draw with. They're really simple. I haven't got any to hand. So let's draw a simple flower. I think it might be a bit too difficult with this, but I'll give it a go. So when you're drawing your little doodles, be mindful of the size. So my tags are really big. This is quite a small doodle. But something like that. And then you can add a few little dots and patterns and things and make it look pretty. And then maybe if I show you how I did this one, or let's maybe do a more simple one. I don't want to put people off. So this is quite a simple one. This one here, I'll do a bigger version. So you start off with 3 petals, and you want them going into the middle. This is going to be a bit wonky. And then you draw your stem, and then you draw your leaves. And the paper I'm using is a very cheap, they say it's watercolour, but it's no way watercolour. It's a very cheap paper, but it is thickish, so I'd say it's about 160 GSM. So it'd be easier to do your fussy cutting with this type of paper. I'm just going to draw a little line there and there. There we are. And that's one. Another one you can do is a sort of more circular shape. And again, ooh, you're not going to get a perfect drawing. This is coming out quite fast. Okay, that's that one. And another one of my favourites is another 3 petals, but slightly different to this one. So it goes like, start in the middle, then you draw this large petal, and then you draw a smaller petal there, and a smaller petal there, and you've got your stem, and you can do the leaves however you like. And you can draw in some lines there, like that. Okay, so let's get rid of that. Now this will take a while to dry, a good hour or so. And then let's do this one. So you start off with the petals on the side, like that. And you go from the middle, and then you do the one in the middle there. And they've got a little bit of a loop. Let's do another one. So you do the one on the side there, into the middle, go from the middle and do the second side one, and then do the middle one, and a little loop. And what I'm going to do then is I'm going to draw my stem, and then this stem is coming out over there. It's quite a bit far away actually, probably would have been better if I'd done it a bit closer. Let's draw this again. So you go from the middle and the middle, and then you draw the middle one. I'll do that like that, and then you can, this is going to be huge. And then go to the middle, like that. And then you can draw smaller ones wherever you want to. So I just did this kind of shape. And I haven't got any leaves on that one, so There we go. And then you can draw in some lines. Like that. And you can just keep on going. But I'll let these dry now and I will fussy cut them out and go on to the next stage. I fussy cut my little flower doodles out and I've got this tag here and we've got quite light background. Majority of this is quite a light background. I've got an old dictionary page and I've got my watercolours. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sort of a rectangle shape with my paint, and I need it so that it's going to be maybe slightly smaller than this. So let's fold this like that. This is very brittle. And maybe we don't need much. So that can go on there like that. And I am going to use Prussian blue. And I'm probably going to use sepia as well. So here's the Prussian blue. So I'm using a round brush. Is that what you call a round brush? Maybe not. It's got a curved. It doesn't really matter what brush you use for this. And I'm going to just paint half of the rectangle. And then I'm going to go in with my very dark brown sepia. And paint the bottom. And then you can let it do its own thing. You can add more paint. But I'm quite happy with that. And I'll just dry this off now with a heat gun just to speed up the process a little bit. So that's nice and dry. And then you just need to find the right position for your doodle. I think I quite like it up there actually. Maybe. You can offset it, you can basically do whatever you want. So I quite like it there. So let's grab my glue. You don't have to have it coming off the page. I'm just going to try and see if I've got one that's not coming off. Keep on losing where I've done things. I think most of the ones I did are actually coming off the page. That's probably on the page as close as I've got it. I haven't really got that in the middle either, but it's stuck down now. So that's that one, and you could always put maybe some kind of sentiment or something there. Let's have a look, see what one looks like. I think Something like that might work. So I've got ground espresso distress oxide here. Oops, gone all over the place with it. Not to worry, goes with the grungy look. Yeah, that's the first tag. The second tag, I'm just going to use the dictionary page, and I'm going to cut this in half. And then fold it so that the bottom comes off. So that's like that. So let's pop this on first. So the top and bottom are sticking out, but the middle bit isn't. And perhaps I can distress the edge here a bit. You could add some fabric behind this as well, but I'm just going to leave it like that for now. So I quite like that one. And I think I'll have that at the top. Actually, it's landed a bit lower than I planned, but that's that one. Again, you could have a sentiment. Let's see if I can ink it a little bit better this time. I've still smudged it. Okay. Okay, so it's nice and simple. We've got 2 tags left. So let's see what we can do with this one. Now I've got that piece there that I thought would work really well. So I've done the 2-tone in the background. I think that one is raw umber, that colour. And this colour I think is phthalo blue. I'm just going to glue that in because I think it goes really nicely with this one. So I'm going to use what I have. I don't seem to be able to put it in the middle tonight. Yes, that's that one. I like that, so it goes quite well with that. And this one, I mean, we could try these, but I think it's a very busy background. I actually like that because I think it looks like it's part of the background. So I think that would work really well. That not so much. What I think you could do is you could very much just put that straight down and just use the background because the background is so pretty. Or you could use something like a tea bag, a tea-stained tea bag, and put that behind it like that. I don't know if it actually needs it. I quite like it straight on there. So that's what I'm going to do for this one. I'm just going to glue them down. So I'm not going to put any backing on that at all. And I think I will put another sentiment. So I've got my 4 tags here. The paper I used for this one, as you can see, it's slightly tinted. That's under wallpaper, wallpaper lining. That's what I was trying to say. So they're all quite different. And the other thing I wanted to do, I've got this offcut here, and it's just like a strip of, it was from a masterboard, and I've made like a page strip with it. So I was thinking of using one of these. I just thought I could pop that on there. I did wonder if that would work, but actually I think it does look better when it's watercolour. Personally, that's what I think anyway. Yeah, so I may do some more watercolours actually. I'll leave that for now. But that's the first idea I had for these tags. Very simple way of making tags, and you can alternate it. And these are the ones I made earlier. And you can have lots and lots of fun. So let's see what ways you can do alternative and still come up with a very similar look. So if you don't want to do the drawing, if you don't want to do your own doodling, you could use a stamp. And if you still want that sort of vibrant black look, then you could go ahead and do embossing. So I've got black embossing powder, and I've got an emboss dabber. So I'm just going to pop that on there. Oops. And take this off. Oh dear. That's not the best idea. Bear with me while I clean this up. The last certainly didn't go to plan, so I'm going to try and do it a little bit more gentle now. I don't know why that sort of globuled out. It's the first time that's happened. Oh, see, it just moves there. That's really, really weird. Oh. I don't know why that's doing that. Anyway, let's see if it works. Yeah. Kind of got it there. Okay, so let's pop this on. Okay, so I've got that there. I'll do another stamp now. Let's do this one. Okay, I'm going to dry that off with a heat tool now and see what it looks like. So that's how these have turned out, and I think if you spent a little bit of time embossing, whereas I just did it really quickly, you could make them look much more vibrant than these versions, but pretty much the same, and you get a nice little glossy effect as well. So if you've got some stamps and you don't fancy doodling, then this is a great alternative. And if you haven't got access to any jelly prints, then why not use a masterboard? So I'll link below, sorry, a video or two of making masterboards. So masterboard is basically a sheet of paper or any type of substrate, and then you stick a load of paper on top, and these are scraps. So I thought these are quite funky and would go. And let's have a look at my templates. I want to do smaller tags this time. So let's do, I think that would be a good size. So this is 7.5 centimeters across by 18 centimeters down, and you've got 3 inches across by 7 inches down. So I am going to find my ruler, my knife. And with offcuts like this, you could actually use those for your little doodles as well. So that works really well. So while I'm thinking about it, let's chuck that down. Let's just see which ones I like. I've got that colour there. Again, this is quite a busy background, so it may be that you just need a doodle. Or quite a contrasting colour maybe, like green. Ah, that's the one. That's the one that does it for me. Okay, so there's that idea. This is a more traditional masterboard using digital kit scraps, and I think that goes really nice there. So you can still use traditional looking scraps with a more abstract kind of, I think I'll go high there. And grunge it up a little bit, and I'll stitch around it as well. And that will be another tag for the collection. I do have rather a lot of tags to make to fill in my personal journal. I hope you enjoyed that little video, and you'll give these doodles a go, whether you use your stamps and embossing powder or whether you give a little bit of drawing a go. It's just creating something fun and maybe something different to what you're used to. I'd love to see your creations. If you'd like to share them, let me know in the comments below if you've got any questions. But until the next video, I will see you soon. Bye-bye for now.
Pretending land was our home, we couldn't embrace the notion that we were meant for something more, something beautiful, something beautiful. As soon as we saw the ocean, we knew what we had become, defying our own emotions. something